All right then, so excuse me, we're off again. And every time I start one of these, I have a little pang of guilt. I'm thinking, oh, dear, dear, am I doing too many of these? And then I remember the fact that back in the days when I used to be bombarded with shit from, I always suspected, casino sponsored, casino employed, quite probably, critics who were just so nasty. I mean, just really, really horrible. They used to come out with things like, yeah, well, these results don't cover a representative sample of outcomes, and this is anecdotal, and this is whatever. And so if I can keep on generating and posting demonstrations which show me in real time, unfortunately not with real money, but in real time, in unedited demos, beating the crap out of games which are completely representative of the real thing in a casino, and nobody could possibly prove otherwise, because it ain't possible to prove otherwise, then the anecdotal nonsense goes away. The other thing that comes at me every so often is a complaint that I'm not doing anything for people on small budgets, low bankrolls, and that sort of thing. And there is a very good reason for that, and that is that it is simply impossible to win. On a low budget, however good your plan. If you've got a shoestring bankroll, then you just kiss it goodbye. You might as well just mail it in. I mean, there's no fun in losing, whatever the casinos might tell you. The experience is unpleasant to say the least. I mean, there's one video that was put up quite recently of a guy in the parking garage at a casino after he'd blown, I think, 10 grand or something like that. A relatively small sum, but a lot to many people. And he was very nearly in tears. And that's the reality of how the casinos operate, what gambling is doing to society in general, all of that sort of thing. And I have to say once again, I'm not morally opposed to gambling. I'm just opposed to people gambling with money that doesn't belong to them, and to hurting their families. And that's me basically. I mean, I'm just not keen on gambling at the level of accessibility and popularity that it is today. I don't like the fact that our elected representatives, who are supposed to be protecting us, are in fact encouraging a greater access to gambling, because it's a good source of revenue for them, and as the old saying goes, it's a tax on stupidity. So the governments do very well. Nevada, for instance, I mean, they'd be in deep shit without gambling revenue. Oh, that was a lucky save, wasn't it? So that's going to be a double after the tie. So that's really all I'm about, is just, on the one hand saying that the more of these that I put up, the harder it is for anybody to suggest that the consistent wins that I'm showing you, unedited, blah blah blah, and in the case of the baccarat shoes, of course, the baccarat platform itself numbers the shoes and indicates how many times they've been played and all that sort of thing. So there's just no way for me to cheat. I mean, I get my ass kicked sometimes, but I get out of it because I've got an infinite bankroll, you might say. But in the huge model that I've developed and that I'm working on currently, or working with and adding to currently, I mean, the bankroll in that is way above $1 million. And there have been 2 bankruptcies along the way, 2 busts, because I set it up for busting at a loss of $500,000, and we're still $1 million plus ahead. So I mean, that sort of thing is it's impossible for the critics to knock it down. And the frustration that I get, of course, is that the people with the most money in these casinos, who go into casinos with huge amounts of money, they probably play the worst games. And then you look at people like Steve, DeLeonardis, and Cody Burnett, and you have to wonder, is this real money they're playing with? I mean, are they sort of like, as soon as the camera's turned off, are they sort of like getting their money back and going home, you know, and putting their feet up by the fire or whatever? Probably not in Las Vegas, but anyway, that's all by the by. What am I doing now? I'm standing, and that's very disappointing. So that's 2, 3. Second only. No. Yes, second only. Well, we got lucky there, didn't we? But you know, that's the game. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. +1 for the win. 51, second. 2, 3, third. Oops. 5, 3 drop. 5, 3 it is. 1, 2, 3. Bugger. 8, 6. Oh. 14, 15. We're up shit creek already. 14, 15. Third. Okay, so that's 3, 1.5 drop, and I won't run away from this until I actually can't make the next bet. That's the procedure that I'm following right now. So it's 3, 1.5, and we drop to that's the drop bet. So that's 2.5, 1.5. Bugger. 2.5, 3. And I just, normally you don't respond to a tie with any kind of action, but here what I'm doing is I'm converting the 2.5, 3, which is, you know, I'm now sorry, 2.5, 1.5. I'm now making it 2.5, 3, so that we've got a turnaround potential. And remember, it is only potential. Every single bet faces the same negative expectation, but patterns are what can save our ass if we're lucky. So 2.5, 3. Oh dear. Maybe. And we got it. So that's put us 1,000 ahead and back to the minimum. And back to the minimum is essential. You know, and to all you twerps who say, well, you just got lucky. That's the game. And we're plussing. Uh-oh, I got that wrong. Okay, so this is the third plus now. Add 1 unit after a win. Oh dear, up shit creek now. Nope, maybe not. Okay, so this is plus max, 5 units. Oh. Do it again. Alright, we're going to chase that. So that's 3, 4, third. That's not going to work. 7, 4, drop. And the drop value is up to you. You can, if you're in a game where you can drop to nothing, which only would be Baccarat, of course, but drop to the table minimum if you can get away with it. So that's 7, 4 drop, right? Okay. 9, 4. 11, 4. 13, 4. Don't like this. 13, 4, 11, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I took that off because it was 200. 11, 4. Oh, that was just too flashy. 15, 8. Oh dear. 23, 16, which is 2.5. 2.5, 1. Oh, this is only the third, isn't it? 2.5, 1.5. Oh boy. I think that worked. So we bet 2.5, 1.5, and double down. So we got out of trouble there. The main thing is, I mean, the message I'm constantly trying to get across is that if the relationship between your down, which is the hole you're in, and your out, which is the next bet out on the table, is, if they're too far apart, in other words, if the down is more than about 5 times the value of the out, then the things are getting sticky. And so you have to try and maintain a relationship between those two things so that you can turn around quickly, because the whole point is to win back your losses in fewer bets than it took you to lose the money in the first place. Because, you know, you are going to lose more bets than you win over time, so you must win more when you win than you lose when you lose. And this is a sort of like a cracked record thing, but I have no choice but to tell you this, because it's the truth. And it's like, you know, when people say to me, well, why don't you produce a strategy that works for the common man, for the everyday, for the weekend punter, the sort of recreational gambler, for want of a better expression. I mean, how anybody gets any recreation out of losing money beats me. But, you know, and all I can say every time is, it isn't possible. Can't be done. Yes, you can get lucky. Yes, you can win a huge amounts of money, but only if you win more bets than you lose. And Mr. HP, Jason Bulkey, is a perfect example of this. The only time he ever wins is when he wins more bets than he loses. And that ain't going to happen often enough to offset all the times when he gets the shit kicked out of him, recently to the tune of 75 grand at Foxwoods, because he just kept losing. And when pattern betting played exactly the same outcomes, but with a sensible range of betting, I think from 10 to 10,000 or something like that, you know, whereas he was betting 500 to 20-some thousand, you know, and he ended up betting, you know, with a much higher action than pattern betting, and got his ass kicked. I mean, he's only just started to fall into the red, but you know, oh dear, the last couple of sessions have just absolutely bruised him horribly, poor man. But obviously he has tons of money, because he plays as if he wants to lose. What the hell was that? That was good. So we're back to the minimum. And I'm going to try and shut up, but I can't promise anything. Add 1 for the win. Got lucky again. +1. That's a repeat, isn't it? Okay, so we won that back, so we go back to the min. Well, that's tough to beat. There's no doubt about that. My God, I just heard that thing about Biden calling his Vice President Trump, and calling Zelensky of Ukraine President Putin. I mean, Jesus, and then he says, I'm up to the job. Dear, oh dear. Got to keep politics out of this, shut up. Dear. Now I've forgotten where I am, so let's call it 51 second. 2-3 third. 5-3 drop. 6-3. Oh, that's a shame. 6-3, 6-3, 6-3, 6-3, 6-3, 6-3 it is. 7-3. 7-3 it is. 7-6. I think 7-8 is going a bit too far, so I think we'll just repeat that. 10-6, second. 16, 12. We'll do that one and then recalibrate. 16, 12. 4, 5. Looking better. Not for long. 9, 10. Second. Oh, that's very fancy. 9, 10, 19, 20. So it's, was that the third? Maybe not. 19. So 2, 2.5. There we go. You see, we got that. And then somebody's going to look at this and they're going to say, "Well, obviously you knew what was coming, because you wouldn't have bit like that if you didn't know what was coming." I mean, you know, I'm doing silly voices and all the rest of it. And the reality is that the people who come out with the arguments that I hear most are the stupidest. And not because they disagree with me, it's just that they have no basis for the comments that they make. I mean, when I say to you that Mr. Handpay or Vegas Matt or whoever is playing blackjack very badly, I can prove it, you know. So I'm speaking from a different kind of soapbox, if you like, than these people who just you know, throw bricks and rocks and you know, as I say, so often they seem to be coming from a position of being pro-casino for no apparent reason. So anyway, back to the min. Going very slowly on this one. My apologies for that, but you know, I kind of figure, well, it's my channel, and if I've got something to say, I'm going to say it. Damn it. Double for the loss. Double down on that one. Oh, very fancy again. So that's 2, 3, third, isn't it? That ain't gonna work. 5, 3 drop. That is rotten. So 5, 3 is the bet now. Uh, 8, 6. It's really trying us, this one, isn't it? It's a good one for me though, because now I'm starting this new thing of actually analysing it more closely. Oh, what did I say? 8, 6? I think it's 8, 6. Sorry about the coughing and all that stuff. Can't do much about it really. 14, 15 is the third. Well, that was a tidy bust. Just at the right time. And it's worth keeping an eye on these counts here. You know, very often you'll see me kicking ass against a negative deck value, and that I think is highly relevant. Currently we're at 3,000 ahead, which is at 18 minutes is not very good, but that's because I've been waffling too much. Anyway, we're going back to the minimum now for no other reason than that we won. So now we've made our turnaround and we're back to the minimum. And then this is a double, an unsuccessful W double. So that's 51 second. 2, 3 third. I think that might win. Yeah, that's good. Okay, back to the min. Double for the loss. Maybe. Repeat it. Double for the loss. Or was it a double down? Oh, too late now. Repeat. Uh, 51 second. Repeat. That was a nice one. Back to the min. I mean, the main thing is we're making money. You know, that's what we're here for. We're not here for fun. I like that ace screwing up the dealer up there. And that would be a push at some games. I mean, I just can't believe it. Cannot believe what punters will put up with. I hate to see these shitty games promoted online. I mean, by people like Brandon O'Brien and so on, and Greg, the bouncing ball guy, the roulette expert. Just hate to see it. You know, there's no good advice being offered online. There's just lots of demos of silly behaviour. And I mean, Greg, the roulette guy, is constantly saying, well, I've run the numbers on this. Well, I don't know how many numbers he's run, but it certainly can't be more than 100, because he's supporting strategies which are just, they all face exactly the same negative expectation, and that's exactly what they deliver. Minus 2.7% on a single zero game of roulette, and you know, whatever. Is that 51 second? I just keep completely confusing myself. Very nice up there. 2-3 third. Oh, you bugger. 2-3 third. 5-3 drop. That was nasty. 5-3 it is. 1, 2, 3. And now it's 2-3. Oh, we're good. So we're at 4,000 now. Slow and steady wins the race. Double for the loss. 1, 2, oops. Wouldn't matter really, would it? 1, 2 third. Double down. Good. Back to the min. Well, that was a cock up. 51 second. 2-3 third. Blimey. Alexa, stop. Good reminder though. So 5-3. What was the last bet? So that's, is that 8-3 now? Oh dear. Better call it 8-3, I think so. And that's the drop value. So that's 6-3. 9-6. I think I'm off with this one, but 9-6. Excuse me. So that's 2 1.5 now. Third. So we're going to make it 2 2.5 now after the tie. That didn't work. So 4.5, 2.5, and that's the drop value then. Well, that's good. So that's 2.5, 2.5, which is 2.5, 3. That was our win trigger, so now we get 2.5, 3. That is not good. 5.5, 6 second. That was lucky. We didn't win very much though, did we? But we're 5,000 ahead, so I'm not going to quibble. 5.5, 6. That was nice. Thank you, Wizard. Back to the minimum. Double for the loss. Double down. 2-3 third. Sorry. 5-3 drop. Another fancy 21. 6-3. 6-3 it is, money out. 8-6. 2-3. 5-6. Second. Oh dear, oh dear. Keeps pulling rabbits out of the hat. 11-12. Third. Damn it. So that's 2.5, 1.5. Drop. So that's 2, 1.5. Back in the game. I hate not hitting those. It's all Gary's fault. 2, 1.5, 3.5. 3, well, it's going to have to be 3.5, 4, isn't it? Because 3.5, 3 is just silly. 3.5, 4. Oh, God. 7.5, 8. I think we're going to be playing Baccarat yet. 7.5, 8. I think we better call it 8-9. We're getting into really long grass here. 8-9. Second? Oh shit. Well, that made us a shitload of money, didn't it? And this is what happens in this game. You know, look, here we are. Suddenly we're 16,000 ahead. Sorry. Oh dear. I suppose what I ought to do is take the audio out of these things and then clean out the barnyard noises, but perhaps I'm too lazy for that, and there's too many of these things and it would take too long. So forgive me for barking and spluttering and coughing and making nasty noises, but what can I do? Okay, so well, I don't have too many complaints about the way this is going, and it's not untypical. You know, so people say, well, that was unusual, that never happens, or it just did. And it's happened many times before that I get a really big double down, and then that makes a difference. But it's always nice to have a demo in which the win is you know, clearly not crooked, not fixed, not rigged. Another 21 up there, bloody hell. This is 1 2/3, I think. 3 2 drop. He's really kicking ass in terms of the number of times he's beating me, but he's not beating me money-wise. 3 2 drop, 4 2. God, I'm really having a bad day of it today with the old... oh, that shouldn't have been a stand either. 5 2. 7 2. 7 2 it is. Sorry. 11 8. I am getting my butt kicked again. 2 1 drop. Jesus. If anybody's got any bright ideas how to fix that, please let me know. Did I say 2 1? Yeah, I think so. Well, that's a start. So that's 1.5, 1. Which I sort of want to make 1.5, 2, but I won't. 1.5, 1. 2.5, 2. Got to play on now. 4.5, 5, third, maybe. Oh boy. Well, look at that. So that's a pretty good way to to end, I think. And I do apologise for all of the noises, but there's really nothing I can do, because as soon as I start to talk, and you might say to me, well, just shut up. But then I get, well, you didn't explain what you were doing there, and I don't understand that, and so on, So, no win really, is there? That was a great session. That was 22,000, almost enough to satisfy Mr. HP. And maybe next time I do one of these, I'll have taken some sort of medication. I admit I'm leery of anything to do with allergies, because they make you dozy, they make you stupid. I'm quite dozy and stupid enough without them, so I just don't. I don't take them. Water. All right, folks. Well, thanks for your time, and I'm going to analyse this and tack off the spreadsheet at the end. That's a lot of work, but I think it's worth it. And I hope you agree next time. Okay, hello again, folks. Yeah, so I've thrown in the screenshots on the right-hand side of the chart there, because I've been saying for years and years that maybe 1 in 1,000 punters, gamblers, whatever, is interested in the numbers, the optimum playing methods, the reality, the truth, the logic of beating house games, and I've realised just lately that it's an even smaller number than that. I mean, 1 in 10,000 is pushing my luck a bit, because the audience that I'm getting for the material that I'm putting on YouTube, and I admit I haven't been there for as long as, or been up with a channel for as long as Mr. HP and Vegas Matt. The biggest audience I get is in the, I don't know, tens. Whereas if you look on the right hand side, you'll see that Mr. Handpay's latest horror story at Foxwoods netted 92,000 views, and then the abominable session that Vegas Matt played like a complete novice against wherever the hell he was playing. I didn't even notice. Oh, Saracen, I think it was called. It's somewhere down in the south. I think Alabama or somewhere like that. He attracted 320,000 views, and in both these cases, the guys were getting applause for the way that they played and for the entertainment that they were providing and all the rest of it. And so all I'm saying here is that obviously, those channels have huge appeal, because there's lots of excitement and there's jeopardy and there's sort of, I don't know, humour and jollity and all that sort of stuff. Fireworks, in other words. Whereas this dull stuff that I'm putting up is it's just not interesting, And of course, what I'm about is trying to demonstrate to the world at large, and hopefully find 1 or 2 people with the brains and the brawn to beat the crap out of the casinos. All I want to do is to just demonstrate that if you know what you're doing, you can make money. But it isn't a cheap process. It isn't something you can do on a shoestring budget. It's not something you can do with a skinful of so-called free cocktails from the casino. It's not something you can do if you're looking for fun and jollies. It's something that you have to be absolutely dedicated to. You have to sort of sit down, dig in, be ready to work, and be ready to protect your ass if you hit a mean streak, because that's a very, very big part of the pattern betting process. Anyway, the latest demo session, which you may or may not have bothered to watch, it's the one that precedes this little presentation, was a horror story. It was a 21%, 20.6% house advantage overall. The house absolutely kicked my ass in terms of wins to losses, But I managed to come out with a very nice $21,850 profit, and that was 31% of my overall action. Now, as in other Excel demos that I've put up recently, and I'll continue to do this, I put in, first of all, a random betting thing, which is betting according to Mr. HP's rather bizarre, very, very tight spread, which is from $500 to 10,000. No, 20,000? I don't know. He just bets ridiculous amounts from time to time. And if we just look at this one run through, random betting loses 73,750, so call that whatever. It has a total action of 329,000 versus my 70,000. It loses 74,000 versus my win of 22,000. The first shoe, you can see down here, it says the first shoe had a house advantage of 16.4%. I managed to squeeze an edge, a player edge, out of those same outcomes, because obviously those are my outcomes, you know, from the demo, which you can witness bet by bet if you don't trust me. You know, I won 625 on average, and I lost 311 on average, so that the average win was 201% of the value of the average loss. And that, my friends, is what it's all about. So we go down to the very end. Shoe 2 is actually shoe 2 and I think 2 hands after that, had a house advantage of 28%, right? And what did I do? I did a 40% hold of my action. I got extremely lucky, but in order to get in deep shit like this, you have to get extremely unlucky first, right? I mean, I think most people can get that. But I had an average win of 1,914 and an average loss of 582, and so that's a 329% win over loss percentage. And you know, this is what you have to do. And anybody who kids themselves that they can make money when they lose way, way more hands than they win is just crazy. If they're saying they can do that just by putting out lots of money, if they don't have a plan, it's nuts. It's crazy. But you know, I'm put in my place by information like this. 92,000 people cheering Jason on when he plays like a prat, and 320,000 people jumping up and down with excitement when Vegas Matt. I mean, you know, I'm always saying the same thing. These guys have every right to play like idiots. It is absolutely their constitutional human right, and you know, I have no quarrel with that at all. The problem I have is when they put these videos up online and make out that it's the way to play. And it's what makes me think that these guys are actually paid, sponsored shills for the casino business, because they are teaching shit methods. It is that simple. And yeah, you know, I might sound insulting and negative and angry and all the rest of it, but quite honestly, it is so disappointing to see people like these guys who have an opportunity to do some good and teach people the right way to, you know, sort of just look after their money. Job 1, stay away from slot machines. Any pretense that you can make money in the long term on slot machines is a bloody lie, okay? Any pretense that you can make money on table games without a plan and without a honking great bankroll is a lie. It's that simple. So, you know, am I supposed to be positive and supportive and excited by the activities of people who are basically selling bullshit? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's a reasonable expectation. Anyway, let's just, for the fun of it, just play a couple of iterations of random betting the HP, the Mr. HP way. Once in a while you're going to see it win, but it ain't going to happen very often. Especially especially against a house edge of 21%. I mean, that is just, you know, that's crazy. Well, maybe there isn't any chance of seeing a win, honestly, because if you look at the percentages here compared with the actual percentage, the AV, which is over here, and I really should mark that, shouldn't I? You can see it's not easy. You know, I mean, it's minus 34%, minus 22.5%, minus 28%, minus 20%. So sometimes doing just a little bit better, but honestly, you know, I mean, these fellows with these hugely popular gambling channels could do some good, but they know that what they're there for is to attract suckers into the casinos, to have themselves turned upside down and their pockets emptied so that they go home with their tails between their legs. And all we can hope is that the money they lose is theirs and theirs alone, because most of the time it belongs to college funds, it belongs to mortgages, it belongs to rent, it belongs to food, it belongs to clothing, it belongs to blah blah blah, car payments, whatever, and it just gets pissed away in the casinos. And you know, these folks who teach bad habits, crazy habits, suicidal habits, I believe have a lot to answer for. Now, somebody's going to say to me, well, if you're telling people that they can beat the casinos, then you're as bad as the rest of them. But I am demonstrating a method. I mean, this is a very dramatic example in this particular run-through here. It was really, really shitty. And it's not usually that shitty. But that's, you know, that's the way the cookie jumps or the monkey crumbles or whatever. You know, I mean, sometimes it's really hard, and sometimes it's just a little bit hard. That's the way it goes. Anyway, I'm going to... Alexa, stop. And I do need a drink of water. Hey, I managed not to cough and splutter this time. How about that? Anyway, thanks for hanging in if you did, and if you didn't, well, no thanks at all. Bye.